Riddle has one of my favorite designs in the entire game of Twisted Wonderland. And I also wanted to try digitally drawing, so I decided to go ahead and draw Riddle digitally. I started off by making a simple sketch on paper and then taking a picture of that sketch and then going over it on Ibis Paint. This drawing was definitely a lot more time consuming than I originally anticipated it to be. Also, Riddle's originally the reason why I got into Twisted Wonderland, so there's that too. And he still remains to be one of my top favorites. He and Edie are tied to be my first favorite. When I read his backstory, I cried. There's this one line he says that every single time I just read it, it just breaks me and I cry all over again. Also, probably doesn't help that I have that image right next to a completely different image that also made me cry quite a lot. I have cried through most of the story in Twisted Wonderland. I have seen the translations, the fan translations for Idia's backstory, and I'm not prepared for them to add that to the English version of the game. They also have this masquerade event going on, and Idia got a new SSR card, and it's so pretty. I really want to get it whenever he releases, probably next year. Games with pretty artwork are definitely my weakness. You've probably seen that with my Twisted Wonderland videos, my Ensemble Star videos. It also doesn't help that I tend to have multiple favorites in each game, so I always end up very upset when one of my favorites suddenly gets something new and I do not have enough in-game currency to be able to pull for them. That just makes me sad. Like, I was completely unprepared for Zhongli's rerun earlier this year, and I was just desperately trying to get more Primo Gems so that I could get him. I, of course, didn't get him, and I was completely devastated. And I was like, I'll just save more for whenever he gets another rerun. And that didn't end up happening because I ended up spending 10 wishes to try and get Ayato, and I didn't get him. Luckily, I learned my lesson and was able to save 40 wishes, I think, for the next time Zhongli showed up, and thankfully he did, and I was just so happy. He's my first proper 5-star that I've gotten, because prior to that I just had Ether. I also tried to get Kokomi when she got a rerun, but I wasn't so lucky that time, so I'm deciding to save up for Ayato's rerun. As far as Twist goes, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to pull for Idia's birthday card, because I had a spare 20 pulls after pulling for Halloween Riddle. He thankfully came on the 100th summon. I was so happy because that's definitely my favorite Riddle card, and if I hadn't gotten it, I definitely would have been upset. And then there's the situation that happened with Renee's Feature Scout 2. I was completely unprepared for that. I was not expecting him at all. So I quickly collected 700 Dias as fast as I could just to be able to have at least 2 10 pulls. And of course, I didn't get him in those 2 10 pulls. So I kept collecting more Dias and doing more 10 pulls. In the video, I ended up doing 41 pulls, because I did 4 10 pulls and then a single pull. I don't know why I did a single pull. That's a terrible decision. But by the end of the video, I didn't end up getting him anyways, so it felt like a waste. And here I am struggling to draw hands, because this particular riddle card was the inspiration behind this little chibi-like drawing. So going back to Renee's Feature 2, I actually did another 10 pull afterwards, and another single pull, because clearly I love wasting my Dias. And I, of course, didn't get him then either. Oh, wait, here's my favorite part of the whole drawing. The little rose. I actually really like how it came out. So, back to Renee again. My little brother actually had a free 10 pull, unexpectedly. I think it was for anniversary. And what ended up happening was he used that 10 pull, and he got Feature Renee, which is my favorite card. And that's kind of ironic and funny because I have featured Chiaki, and that's his favorite card. So that same day, I went ahead and collected another 350 gems. No, wait, not gems, dias. I always get confused with my in-game currency. Gems are from Twisted Wonderland, oh my gosh. So I collected another 350 dias. And then I do my temple, and I'm already expecting the worst because it's already been 52 whole pulls. So I tap the screen, and I end up getting a rainbow. There's no logo on the main screen. And then the first thing I get, the very first thing I get, is Feature 2 Rene himself. That's right, after many failed attempts, I finally got him. I was so ecstatic. I was even showing my brother, and I just stood there staring at the screen for a solid minute. And now comes the most difficult part of the drawing for me, the face. As you can see by that first face, that was very creepy and it kind of looked like a Muppet. But I also felt like the way I drew his hair didn't give me much room to draw his eyes, and that's why they came out so weird. So I decided to go ahead and fix up his hair a little bit more so that it would look a little more accurate, but also so that I would have more space to draw his face. That first face isn't even as bad as what I tried to do afterwards to try and fix it. So I went ahead and made the genius decision to try and use Riddle's chibi sprite to make a better looking face for him, but honestly, this just looks like that one character from Kirby Planet Robobot, and that just looked weird, so I got rid of it. My next attempt would be to try to use this other Riddle chibi that was in a completely different style to try and style his eyes that way. But before I did that, I went ahead and went back to fix Riddle's hair. I colored it a little more accurately and made it look better. Finally, it was time to actually go ahead and do his eyes because I couldn't just be avoiding that forever. At this point, if the face didn't come out good anymore, I wasn't even gonna bother because I just had no more ideas about what I was gonna do. It all seemed to be going good though because the result so far was coming out very nice. But of course, the real trouble with the first face began when I was trying to draw the nose and the mouth. So I was really hoping that this time around, both would come out much better looking. Here I am drawing his blush, and his nose turned out to look really cute. And that's when I noticed something. I never went in and filled in any of the white stuff that's on his outfit. It was all clear and see-through, so I took the time to go ahead and do that. I also added in his eyebrows, which were a little bit of trouble, but eventually I got it right. And then the mouth became the one thing that I didn't like. So I made the decision to instead draw him smiling. I'm not 100% happy with how his smile turned out, but at least it looked better than the very first face, and that's what I was aiming for. I also decided to add in a little bit of a background kind of last minute because I figured that would tie the drawing together in the end, and also I colored in his hair a little more so it wouldn't look super transparent, and I added some clouds, and here is the final result. I'm not 100% happy with this drawing, but it is quite cute, and it was definitely way more time consuming than I thought it would be. I spent like 8 hours drawing it all, but it was mostly because I had a lot of nitpicky details that I just didn't like and I had to go back and fix. Anyways, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching this video. See you all next time, and thank you so much for 35 subs.